What's up, motherfuckers? I'm back again. I'm gonna scooch close to the microphone to hopefully make myself more audible. I'm in the middle of clipping the stream where we revealed the birthday zine, and my nerves are literally getting to they're shredding themselves. And I am in that phase, where I like hearing myself talk. And I know these are, if you are listening to these, thank you, bless you, I love you, in a very platonic way. But I wanted to, I ended up I ended up looking at my riftdale folder again, after not touching it for a little bit, and so I found, this is another partial fic of mine. I want to get back to it one day, but I have to find when the vibes are right. But I really like the introduction. So here's a piece, the first chunk of a piece currently titled, "It's an Alternia AU, baby." Riftdale was a weird little town. Even by the standards of Alternia, that is, the ruins of an old rebellion stronghold, some whispered. What rebellion has strongholds, wondered others. What rebellion ever lasted long enough? A carved-out punishment for a boy never meant to live, a garbage pit that passed for mercy, a place to keep the inconvenient flies of troll kind out of the way until they were fit to be sent off as meat shields, butlers, batteries, commanders for the army, a cruel fate for a false emperor, a place for him to play at power until the day the empress sent a shadow to cut his throat and leave him gargling in the dirt, while the sun cooked meat from bone. A place for rejects, a place not worth remembering, a place for the most mediocre of troll kind. Mostly, Riftdale was a town in a rift. The bottom of the rift was a shadowy place, lit mostly by streetlights and always-on house windows and hints of sunlight so small that one didn't need jade blood in their veins to go outside in the early hours of day. A river made the rift, supposedly, and the long, dry riverbed was still home to the familiar base of the food chain. Some of the houses were lousy lean-tos stacked against the walls, some of the luckier ones had houses partially or wholly carved into the cliffside, all occupied by the warmest hues and their bustling, numerous lives. As with the hemospectrum itself, the higher up the chain, the higher up the cliff. A few olives lived in the ruins of second and third stories, houses with no ground floors but strongholds to the cliffside. The sole entrance to the jade caverns of this region, small as they were nestled in the exact stripe of wall where the sun illuminated come noon. The teals, the ceruleans, the shops that took one look at a warm-colored shirt and wasn't hesitate to kick an unaccompanied rust to the ground a bone-breaking distance away. The purple surveyed from the cliff stops, not quite allowed to build on solid ground, their stained glass windows catching the sunlight in the hours when no one worshipped, and scattering prophecies in the forms of burns on low-blood backs, hands, faces. The sea dwellers lived close by, some said. They were certainly always round. The tower leads to the ocean, they would say, but no one ever had theories beyond that. Too many people disappeared midday, too many friends in their homes 3 days later with memories missing, gaps stretching as wide as the rift itself. Too many fuchsia eyes painted on doors, walls, cliff sides. To speculate was to be unsafe, said the eyes. Do not speculate. Be safe. Live your natural life. Riftdale, like most towns in Alternia, had a secret. A poorly kept secret, specifically, because it wasn't so much a secret as a town embarrassment, jester, rebellion leader, depending on one's personal opinions of him and the broadcasts he put out. Good morning, Riftdale. Claire's grip on his microphone was tight, eyes darting around the room. He had yet to be discovered here in his quote-unquote apartment dug into the side of the rift, but it was never good to get too comfortable in a place like this. This was his first broadcast in a few days, and the first broadcasts after breaks are always the most chaotic. The camera pointed at the cliff face where the sun rose lit up, and he had to tilt the screen away from him to keep from hurting his eyes. It was officially daylight. From trial and error, he knew that around just after dawn was the safest time to get these out, while preventing unnecessary casualties, but he had to act fast. It's been a few days since I last had a chance to speak with you listeners. I had reason to believe I was being tracked and had to jam my systems to keep the eye off my trail. And then it ends there. It's one of those things, I really like it, but there's a specific atmosphere I was going for, so I have to figure out how to rebuild that atmosphere. I'll get to it. Anyway, once again, if you're actually listening to these, thank you, I love you. Thank you. And, yeah. I'll finish it one day. Thanks for listening, and have a good whatever time of day it is when you're listening to this.